Today I am 67, well actually 67 and a half, as my grandson would tell you, and that's significant. I made it through a long way. I am in the middle of transition because my life has changed. My parents are now both gone. My children are grown, and I'm the grandfather of 7, so they're involved in their lives. And I am now involved in my life. And I moved from my home in the south suburbs to the center of town, to Boys Town, to Homo Central, as we call it, out in the boondocks, to move into Town Hall. Town Hall is the 4th development in the United States. It's developed specifically to be LGBT senior friendly. What happened at Town Hall when we opened up? And understand that this residence is owned cooperatively by the Chicago Housing Authority, Heartland Alliance, and the Center on Halsted, our LGBT community center. And so there was a huge lottery for spaces. It's a building that has 79 units, and we currently have 93 residents. And there were hundreds of people in the lottery for spaces in this building. And they came from all 3 of those sources. Well, when they finally filled the building, they ended up with a breakdown by sexual orientation that was 60-40. 60% LGBT, 40% straight. Now, I have some questions about that particular breakdown. I think it could have been less, but there are other issues I think could have been done with it. It appears that there were many people who came from outside of the LGBT community who were not advised that they were moving into a residence that was intending to be LGBT senior friendly. And I happened to be sitting in one of the public spaces one night after we just moved in, and there were about a half dozen other people around. These people were from the South Side and the West Side, and they did not know that this was Boys Town, that this was Homo Central in Chicago. They'd never heard of it. And so the first they heard that they were in an LGBT-friendly senior building was when we all were together for our first residence meeting. And so they said in this small group discussion, well, what are you going to do about it? My fear sitting there listening was it could have ended in people saying really homophobic things and saying, I don't believe in this, and we're going to blow this up and make a big stink out of it, you know. But they did not have a homophobic or a heterosexist reaction to the situation in the way that they could have. You know, they had a good individual personal reaction to it, which was, let's stop and think about this. You know, what is the reality of our situation? And they said, to their credit, you know, it says, well, we're not going to do anything about it. Look at what we got. You know, we're in a fabulous neighborhood. We've got grocery stores. You know, we're grocery store rich. You know, the place is new. It has no vermin. We're staying. And it occurred to them that, you know, the presence of gay people was not threatening to them as straight people. Certainly not as threatening as leaving this residence and having to fend for themselves someplace else. So that was good that they reacted rationally rather than emotionally. Interaction amongst my neighbors happens in the community room, which we have renamed the Rainbow Room, and it happens on the terrace, and it happens in front of the mailboxes and things like that. And people know each other, they know each other by name, they've worked on projects together, they garden together, and that has served us well. And that's because of the effort that the actual residents put into building community and not because of the foresight and planning of the developers of the community. For those 6 people who were in the common area with me that night, who were engaged in this conversation that had me sort of speechless because I was afraid of where it was going to go, these are people that I see and I interact with every day. We are not our social classifications to each other. We are individual people. We know each other by name. We feed each other. We share with each other. We check on each other. We make sure that people are healthy. We live like neighbors, and that's a good thing.